Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor. Welcome to Monday Magic Intuitive Energy Reading, where we take a pulse on what are we experiencing right now? What does the energy look like over this past week? And what is the guidance on how to move forward? We made it through eclipse season. Welcome to the other side. It certainly was an interesting week. We had some very strange intensity come in midweek pre-eclipse, which was very fascinating. When looking at the solar weather and the Schumann resonance, nothing was out of the usual. We did have some peaking energy Thursday, Friday, Saturday, just before the eclipse, as far as solar weather is concerned, but we really didn't get much higher than a KP4, which is pretty low and standard. The Schumann resonance had a few minor spikes throughout the week, but again, nothing too crazy. So the intensity was, it looked like it was likely due to the astrological aspects of the week. There was a Mars-Mercury conjunction in Scorpio, which really brought about a very heavy and dense feeling right around Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it brought along with it some pretty interesting experiences. Many people that I have talked to, some experienced car accidents or physical injury. I personally had my Facebook account completely hijacked and hacked, probably never to be recovered, which is an unfortunate experience, but really more so I share that just because it's evidence of the challenges that were present with us last week. And of course, life is always happening for us and not to us. So as we can look back, hindsight is 2020. As we get farther down the road, we'll be able to see how did these things serve us. It likely was the best thing that ever happened. So we get to wait with curiosity and anticipate the clarity that will come around what we experienced this past week. The Taurus full moon eclipse was pretty intense, to say the least. It is, because it's a full moon, it is a typical moon, new moon, or I'm sorry, full moon is allowing us to release and let go. And because it was also an eclipse, it tends to bring about fated events. So you can trust that if things have moved suddenly or shifted in your life over the last couple of weeks, it has been part of your journey. This is here to serve you. And again, we can look, like I say, with anticipation and awe for how this is going to be the best thing that has ever happened to us. Eclipses tend to kind of shift us back on track or help us adjust things that may have gotten off track. So a few things that I've noticed in the recent energy: being busy, it seems unusual. It seems that even though it may feel like a similar workload, it just feels more busy. It feels like there's less time. And technology was also very glitchy this past week as well. So I wanted to bring those things in. As far as physical symptoms, there's a lot of achiness or just body soreness or inflammation over the last couple of weeks as well. I have noticed that tends to happen around the moons. I have also noticed that the more pure or clean my diet, the less inflammation. And so if you're experiencing inflammation around the moon, don't be surprised. It's not uncommon, especially since the moon does have a tendency to pull on the tides, and we are 70% water. It would be unreasonable to think that it doesn't affect us. But also know that our purity level can assist in or reduce the impact of the moon. There's also, like I said, this busyness. It's very interesting. It's kind of a feeling of, the term drowning came to mind, but it's not, that sounds so negative. It's not quite how it feels, but it just feels like a lot. Like we have to really work to keep our head above water, whether that's social engagements or a lot of work, or it's interesting because it's a lot of good things, but so much at once that it feels taxing a little bit. So good problems to have: lots of extra clients, lots of new activities, lots of new connections. Not a bad problem to have, but sometimes it still requires effort to kind of keep your head above water. And this has brought about with it this sense of things have got to shift. Not quite sure how, not quite sure in what way, but the way it's currently going is not sustainable. And so the how remains to be seen, right? The how is up to the divine. We just have to open up to saying, okay, I understand I'm being called to shift and change in some way. Something is going to have to move. We're going to have to adjust some time slots or consolidate some things to make more space for this new way of life that is trying to come through. And it feels like something we have been working on for a long time, working on bringing through, working on manifesting, working on building. And it has been pretty slow, especially over the last few years. Since 2020, even, things have felt as if they're moving slowly, not moving at all, but just not moving as quickly as we might like. And that seems to, it seems that we may see some pickup in momentum in the next 6 months or so. But right now, we just want to understand that the slowness is part of the process. It's giving us time to, cross all our T's and dot all our I's, make sure everything's in order, and prepare for when the pace does pick up. There have been, along with the busyness, a lot of distractions. Again, it's Halloween tomorrow and lots of social activities, and it's very easy to let life's busyness or distractions get in the way of our connection with source and cause us to forego those moments of stillness or calm and peace and quiet that are necessary to keep us in the flow and balanced and regulated and stable in our energy. So we want to notice the potential for distraction and reprioritize connection and really keep that at the highest priority level. We are it feels as though we are hitting sort of a tipping point, and it may be because of the culmination of the eclipse season that we're peaking in the energy and dissipating now as we're coming close to the third day post eclipse. Of course, eclipses have a 6-month window of influence, but really the intensity of the 2 weeks of the eclipse tends to die down now once that's passed. So the tipping point, all of the experiences, the intensity that we've been through the last couple of weeks can kind of push us to a place where we say, okay, something's got to shift and change. And this tipping point, again, is not a terrible thing. We're drowning in goodness. We have all of these amazing things pouring into our life, and yet it's not sustainable at its current capacity. So we're going to need to shift and change things. And so this tipping point is kind of pushing us, that one last push to say, okay, make this change. This is how we're going to shift and make space. And when we come to that point of enough is enough is enough, it's actually a good thing. That's when we actually change. When we say, okay, I've hit a breaking point. This is the tipping point. We're done. There's no more, right? In my personal life, the next 2 weeks are sort of a phasing out of a certain way of daily work and phasing into a new strategy. And so I can see that we've kind of hit that point this week. And even though we're busier than ever, it still feels like things are moving slowly, right? Things are not being built or manifesting quite as quickly as we'd like to see them. And the guidance has been that December we'll start to see a shift and change in that. And then by spring, we'll be in full swing of faster pace, faster speeds. So in the meantime, what do we do, right? How do we best navigate the week ahead and the current energies and just recommitting to self-leadership, recommitting to all of the things that we know we need to do that we don't always do when we get distracted or busy or overwhelmed with life, or there's so many shifts and changes, we can kind of fall out of our I don't want to say habits, but our strategies, our consistency in the behaviors and activities that we know keep us grounded and balanced. So we really want to take a step back and look at how am I showing up in this moment, in this time, in this phase of life? And is it how I want to show up? If not, how do I want to shift? So recommitting to self-leadership means, where do you lead yourself? You in the area that you lead yourself is where you're capable of leading others. So if you are really good at the perfect diet and exercise routine, and you have consistently led yourself in that way, then you have leveled up to the point where you can be able to teach in that area or lead others in that area. And so we want to look at all of the different aspects of our lives: relationship, finances, spirituality, health and fitness? Are you leading yourself in these areas? And if not, how do you want to show up? How do we need to readjust and readapt the way that we are showing up? Readapt, that's an interesting phrase. How do we want to adapt or readjust how we're showing up so that we can step back into our own self-leadership and know that we are capable of leading others in that way? So because this is a full moon, it's a perfect time to release and let go of the behaviors, activities, thought patterns, belief systems, stories we tell ourselves, meaning making, all these things, all of these habits, and even physical stuff. If you want to clean a closet or clean out your garage, which I need to do, this is a perfect time to let go and clean out the old. This can also be great for unresourceful habits and patterns that we want to let go of. So just making that commitment to stepping it up and recommitting to being our highest self and letting go of what is not serving us. Always remembering that connection and stillness need to be the top priority. So things like grounding and cleansing and nourishing our body, all of those activities that we know we need to do that sometimes fall to the wayside because we're busy. Another opportunity to recommit is in love, right? Showing up in a loving way with everyone, regardless of the situation, and not allowing ourselves to get lazy or to just take the easy way out when it does require effort to act in a loving way and to speak in a loving way, even when someone is seemingly not deserving, because we have to forgive over and over and over. So we want to remember that as we go through the next few years, it is going to be difficult for a lot of people, and people will act out and behave in unfortunate ways when they are struggling. And so we want to support each other through the shift and remember that everything a person does comes from a desire to survive and to thrive. And while it may not be the most resourceful choice they could make, they still deserve love and respect and support. And so just offer the smile, offer the compliment of their shoes, whatever you can do to make someone's day better. It's helping to support the collective whole, right? As always, keep our eyes on God, stay focused on the good and what you're building in your life, sweep in front of your own door. And as you take care of yourself, you will help those around you. Always look for the silver lining. There's always something beautiful in your life. If we have a lot of unhealed trauma and wounds, we have a tendency to only see the negative, and it does require effort to look for the good. And we do have that choice to romanticize our life and to make it beautiful. It is up to us as creators to create our lives, and it is what we make of it. So you may as well make it something beautiful. All right, that is all I have for you, my friends. If you could do me a favor, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. There's been an algorithm shift and change, and it has definitely impacted us. So that thumbs up, like, or comment would be super, super helpful. And if you are a regular consumer of the content, at the very least, you could offer is just that quick subscribe. The more subscribers, the more I can offer and grow this channel and make it even better of a resource for you. So sending love and gratitude, my friends. Thank you for being here, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.